Alright, we're out here, our broccoli today. I hadn't videoed anything out here in the broccoli in a little while. We got most of our broccoli cut already. I got two more small heads that I left out here, but they're not going to get any bigger. But most of our heads got pretty good, pretty nice size. We got a couple left here that, and you get a few that don't grow quite like you want them to, but it's time. We need to go ahead and cut them, and the broccoli comes right in the center of the plant. The head of broccoli comes up, and we just take it and trim these leaves off. Like that. We got one head. It's just pretty small. Most of our heads were more than twice as big as this one, but we got to go ahead and get these cut and start getting this bed cleaned up. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, how we clean this thing out here. If I had time to leave these out here a few more days, they might get a little bit bigger like the rest of them did, but this time we need to go ahead and get this cleaned up. I'm going to set these to the side. This bed, these broccoli plants, they form a pretty big stem, a pretty big root. It's hard to cut that stuff up in a situation like this, so what we're going to do with this broccoli is I'm going to take these things, and I'm going to grab one here and just pull it out. I'm going to get as much of the dirt off of it as I can, off the roots, try to get most of it off. I'm going to break the leaves off. The leaves, I'm going to leave laying in the bed. The leaves will rot pretty quick and pretty easy. The stems won't. So we're just going to pull them up. Stems I'm going to throw in the wheelbarrow, and we'll get rid of the stems with yard waste stuff. But if I leave these stems, and I can take that one, I just took them, just pushed it down, just broke the leaves off before I even pulled it out. But if I leave these out here, that stem, this thing is tough. The little roots that break off in the ground, they're small enough, they're not a problem. But this part I'm pulling up here, that thing is so tough, it'll take a long time for it to rot if I leave it in here. And our little rototiller that we cut these beds up with, the stuff I cut everything up with, it just can't do anything with that. These things will be in the way for 2 or 3 months out here. Like I said, it'll take them quite a while to get rotted down good. And I'm not using big enough equipment to chop them up small enough to do anything with them. These bigger stems and root systems like this would just be a problem in this bed. So I just take and pull them out and get rid of that part. The leaves, I'll chop them up. I got a tool that I chop these beds with before I run the rototiller, and we'll see that in another video one day, show y'all doing that. They can stay here because they won't take very long. They're pretty soft. They cut up easy, and they won't take very long to rot down into the soil and form organic matter. This is a little messy, but this is about the best way to deal with these bigger stems on plants. Any plants I plant that's got big, tough stems like this, I just pull them out and get rid of the stem. But I do leave as much of the stuff as I can for organic matter, because all these leaves that I'm leaving off the stem, that's good for the soil to leave it here. So we don't want to take the whole thing out, throw it away. And since these are small beds, we put 75 plants in here, so it doesn't take that long. It's not that big a deal. A little bit of work, but it's not that big a deal to come in here and pull these things out. I'm talking about how many plants we had. I'll say we ended up cutting about 70 heads of broccoli out of here. We had those two that were kind of small. Most of them were big, nice heads of broccoli, but out of 70 plants, and each plant puts out one head, so that's pretty good. That nearly every plant out here put on a head of broccoli. That's pretty good to have 70 heads of broccoli out of 75 plants. I think we had maybe 1 or 2 plants that didn't make it. I think just one, and then we had just a couple that didn't put head on. But that's how we'll do that. We'll keep going along doing that till I got all this stuff out of here. Once I've done that, then I'll come in with my tool and chop this stuff up, and then we'll start running our little rototiller through it, finish it out. Go ahead and turn that off.